lovely Simmers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's video we are doing another save file build, and this time this is in the kind of less affluent area and the non-suburban area. So this is right next door to Johnny Zest and the abandoned fixer-upper that I built earlier, and it's a little bit of a nicer home. I did think that the person living here had probably grown up in this home and they either bought it from their parents or it was left to him, but he doesn't really have that great of a job, so I definitely thought that since he lived in this nicer home, he had at least been gifted it or it had been a family home, because I didn't think he'd be able to afford it on his own. But I kind of just started building, and I knew in the back of my head who this was supposed to be for, but the more I started building and the more I got into it and like really started feeling and being inspired with this home, I totally just ditched the idea of him not having a whole lot of money. So I kind of started playing around with the idea that his family had lived here and they now moved out, because I did plan on building this Sim's parents, or at least one parent, and putting them in another world. So I figured maybe they had retired and they had moved out to be like maybe closer to nature or maybe in a different environment because they had lived here their whole lives, and so they left the house to him because he was planning on staying here because he was friends with Johnny Zest and he didn't want to move, and he had grown up here. And he's definitely still a little younger. He's a young adult just like Johnny Zest is, so I figured maybe his parents had moved out when he was pretty young, like maybe when he was 18 they retired. Maybe they had him when he was older, or when they were older and they retired when he was 18, and instead of moving and leaving his friends he decided to stick around. So that is what I was thinking. Now, speaking of him and his job, because I did say it doesn't pay very well, he's actually a gas station employee. So obviously you all know we don't have cars in The Sims. We don't have gas stations in The Sims. That's not a thing. However, in my community lot build that I did the other day, the Oasis strip mall, I did use a debug gas station from Strangerville, and I thought that he was probably the employee who worked at the gas station. He, ran the counter, he took care of the pumps, he took care of that area, and I thought that that was kind of like what he was doing to make the bulk of his money, but he was also a gamer on the side. So his goal was to be like a popular YouTuber, Twitch streaming gamer, and he has a couple of sponsorships, which you'll see when we get into his office, but that was like his goal. And that's why he wanted to stay here, because, his friend Johnny is trying to get into the comedy scene, trying to become famous that way, so they've kind of been working together, trying to help each other out and kind of like grow together, and they like very frequently are on each other's channels or in each other's comedy skits and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of a neat idea, and he was kind of getting better at it. He was starting to, like I said, he had a couple of sponsorships, so he's definitely starting to make a little bit more money. So I thought that he would start to be able to kind of fix up his house and everything. But the interior of the home, you'll see, has a whole bunch of like random mismatched kind of like younger style decorations, because I was definitely trying to be a little bit playful with the interior considering he is a gamer, and kind of throw a whole bunch of like nerd memorabilia around. There's a whole lot of the Star Wars stuff in here, and then like the signed posters of different gaming stuff and everything. So I had a lot of fun when it comes to the interior, and the exterior was just this very sleek modern home. It was semi-inspired by a house I found on Pinterest. It was a very close-up zoomed in shot of the front porch, and I just really liked how the two different stone columns, you can kind of see I used the country field stone and then the brick, and it was that same way in the reference picture I was using too, and I really liked how the two different stone columns looked with the black overhanging porch head. So that was the main thing I wanted to recreate with this build, because I thought that kind of fit with the rest of the homes I was putting inside of this save file, particularly in this area, since this side of the less affluent neighborhood kind of backs up to where the apartment building is and where the suburban area is. So I definitely thought the closer you got out of this area and more towards the other ones, it would be a little bit more polished and a little bit more modern. So I wanted to have that kind of play into effect here. And then the backyard area, I was really struggling with what to do, because I didn't he has a dog, so I knew he needed a backyard and I wanted it to be fenced in, but I didn't think that they would have like a super big backyard. So I didn't want to extend it all the way to the end of the lot. And then there was this weird gap in between where the carport was and where the fence started. So I was a little, this is like the area of the home, because there's always one in every home that I build that I wasn't 100% sure about. I think it turns out okay in the end. There isn't a whole lot of stuff to do back here, I will say. I end up giving the dog a whole bunch of stuff, but not him, because I didn't think he would spend a lot of time outside. But now we are on to the interior. So right by the front door here, we have that llama carpet, and technically it's a stage marking from Get Famous, but I was using it as kind of like, because one of the Halloween costumes we have in the game is like the llama corn superhero. So I was kind of using it as though maybe it was like there was like a llama corn superhero movie, and he was like a huge fan of that movie, and he had this like memorabilia from it. And then I have a couple of the signed gaming posters up here, and then I also used that new base game mirror that we got with the decorative eyes and stuff, because I thought that that was kind of cute. Maybe it was inspired by clouds in like different games like Mario and stuff like that. I don't actually play Mario, so don't at me about that one, but the games like that, I thought it could have been inspired by the cartoon style. And then in here is the only bathroom in the build. It, in theory, you probably could fit another bathroom, but I was struggling really hard with this floor plan today. I don't know what it was, but every time I tried to move the bathroom, it just didn't really fit right with me, and so I decided, since there was only one sim living here, I didn't need a half bath and a full bath. I could just stick with the one full. And then we're using these cloud lights from Eco Lifestyle. I have never used them before, but I've always wanted to, because they're always so cute, and I figured maybe he had, like, again, it was kind of the same thing as the cloud mirror. They were inspired by the cartoon style of one of his favorite games, so we went ahead and picked them up. And maybe they were even like some super cool memorabilia piece that were like $800, because I definitely thought the majority of his money went into buying things for his game. So I thought that that was kind of a neat thing. You'll see a lot of different pieces like that throughout the build, because I was trying to show that he was definitely still on the younger side and like a super huge nerd, super big gamer. Especially with the stuff here in the kitchen that I'm about to place. A lot of the plants and stuff in this build are like super fun. They're all like the super colorful ones and stuff like that. And I'm using that toy that I don't actually think it's a toy. I don't know what it is, but it came with Discover University, and it's called like a Porter Pal or something. And it's basically like this little stuffed toy / stuffed cartoon character that you can carry around with you, and I'm not 100% sure why it came with Discover University, but it did, and I've never used it before, so I decided to place one here. And then over here, I'm just doing a little bit of a wall decal to kind of fill in that space a little bit, because that's where I was going to put the TV, and I knew he needed a big TV because he is a gamer, but I wanted to not make it big enough to fit that whole wall, so I needed something to kind of fill in the space. And then over here, I'm putting a couple of movie pictures. Like I said, he's good friends with Johnny Zest, so I figured maybe these are some of the films he had like maybe helped Johnny Zest with, like maybe he edits some of his movies, or maybe it's some films that he starred in with him, because Johnny Zest has some of the same posters around, so I definitely thought that maybe it was some things that the two of them worked on together when they were, you know, younger, like maybe their first movies or something like that. And then over here, I struggled a little bit with trying to figure out the couch, because I definitely thought he would be more into comfort versus appearance, because he would be sitting in front of his or in front of his TV many hours a day doing many hours of gaming. So I was trying to find like that perfect mix of he's a gamer, so it's going to be slightly more modern but also super comfortable. So I decided to go with these ones from Discover University, and then I paired the chair with a little ottoman that we got from Snowy Escape that has like the cute face on it. And I figured maybe when he was gaming, he would sit in the chair that's facing directly towards the TV, and he would prop his feet up on that little ottoman, and he would just have like a super comfy, relaxed area. And then I'm also placing a couple of debug items around, an open pizza box, some empty glasses and stuff like that, to kind of show that he's in this area a lot. He's, you know, kind of a slob. He's not really cleaning up after himself, and he orders takeout a lot. He never uses his kitchen and stuff like that, because I definitely thought that that lended towards his personality. And then in here is his bedroom. I definitely thought he had this bedroom since he was a kid. So it's still the same wallpaper, this bright blue from when he was a baby, and maybe even the same dresser from when he was younger. Like, it's the same dresser that his parents had picked out. And then he got this really cheap bed when he was, you know, out in the city with Johnny Zest or something. He was like, oh, this is a super cool bed and it's super cheap. And then he has these like poofs sitting off to the side of his bed because he's not really that worried about having stable furniture or anything like that. He just wants a room that's super comfortable to come into. And then he has a couple of more pictures and posters and stuff in here. But this room here is going to be his gaming office. So it's a little bright. I do realize that in terms of like lighting for films and stuff, you probably want to be able to not have this many windows so that way you can film without like the glare. But I do give him curtains, so that's kind of a bonus. And I ended up taking out one of the windows so I could put this bookshelf back here, and I figured this was like the backdrop for his YouTube videos. So he has this awesome bookshelf that's kind of geometric, and I figured he had maybe again found this at like a yard sale in the city or something, because it is from City Living. And he has a whole bunch of Star Wars memorabilia on here. He has another lava lamp. He has quite a few of those lava lamps. I figured maybe he collects them. And then I also placed a couple of more signed pictures on the wall. Now I do end up moving some of those signed pictures around because the chair I used from Discovery University is like a Power Sip chair, and I figured maybe Power Sip was his first sponsorship. So I decided to put up some Power Sip posters behind his desk instead, and I just move the two signed posters that I have behind his desk, I move them over on the wall where the other two are, and then I replace them with these Power Sip posters because I figured, you know, he would be all about this sponsorship. He wants to make as much money as possible, so he's trying to throw it in people's faces that he has, you know, all this memorabilia, this is what he does and stuff like that. And then out here, like I said, I don't get a lot for him. I do a little bit of a seating area because, like I said, he is friends with Johnny, and Johnny has a whole bunch of friends from him in the comedy industry, and I thought he would probably have some friends from the gaming industry, so they have a little bit of an outdoor area here for him to maybe have some friends over and host a party. And then I also end up giving him a couple of like dog items, just so his dog has an area to train and an area to run around. But besides that, that is pretty much it for this build, so I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!